Welcome to a story unfolding in real time as California grapples with a devastating crisis that is both immediate and unsettling in its implications. Across the state, from the lush hills to sprawling cities, wildfires rage with an intensity that feels almost predestined, like a prophecy coming to life. The fires are more than just a seasonal disaster. They seem to be a harbinger of something far deeper, a warning that echoes through history, religions, and civilizations. As million-dollar homes are reduced to smoldering ashes, as beloved landscapes and wildlife are ravaged, one can't help but ask, is this just another fire or something more? Is it the wrath of nature, divine judgment, or the direct consequence of our own neglect of the planet? California's landscapes, often seen as a symbol of beauty and opportunity, are now cloaked in an ominous haze. Los Angeles and Malibu, two of the state's most iconic locations, known for their glamour and sun-kissed allure, are now under siege. The flames do not discriminate. As wildfires tear through hillsides and urban neighborhoods alike, the golden skies are turned dark with smoke. The fires, which began as isolated incidents, have now spread into an uncontrollable inferno, destroying homes, infrastructure, and wildlife in their path. The cities that symbolize dreams for so many have become a nightmare as evacuation orders spread, families flee, and a sense of helplessness sets in. The fires in Southern California are exacerbated by the infamous Santa Ana winds, which carry the flames with terrifying speed and unpredictability. The heat is unbearable, and the flames, once thought manageable, now roar across the land, consuming everything in their path. In Malibu, neighborhoods once known for their opulent mansions are now reduced to ashes within hours. The fire lines inch closer to major urban centers, forcing thousands to evacuate. As firefighters battle the inferno, entire regions are being wiped off the map, from the coastal towns of Malibu to the sprawling Ventura County. It is a race against time to protect landmarks and prevent further destruction. But the relentless fires continue to spread, threatening even more communities and animal habitats. As the world watches in disbelief, it becomes impossible to ignore the deeper, unsettling questions this catastrophe raises. This is not just another wildfire season. Something about this disaster feels different, even prophetic. Throughout history, many cultures and belief systems have warned of fiery events as a sign of an impending apocalypse. The devastation we are witnessing in California mirrors those ancient prophecies in eerie ways. Biblical texts, indigenous legends, and esoteric traditions all speak of fire as a transformative force, a force of judgment, purification, and change. With millions of acres already scorched, the question arises, is this fire a manifestation of divine wrath, the product of human greed, or perhaps both? In the Bible, fire is often depicted as a symbol of divine judgment and purification. In Isaiah 66:15, the coming of the Lord is described as a fiery, wrathful force. For behold, the Lord will come in fire, and his chariots like the whirlwind, to render his anger in fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. This vivid imagery resonates deeply when we consider the current fires ravaging California. Many interpret these fiery passages as metaphors for God's displeasure with humanity's moral and spiritual failings. Others take a more literal view, seeing the fires as the fulfillment of biblical prophecies that predict a world consumed by flames. In Revelation 8:7, for example, it is written, "The first angel blew his trumpet, and there followed hail and fire mixed with blood, and these were thrown upon the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up." This apocalyptic vision conjures disturbing parallels to the widespread destruction caused by wildfires across the globe. As climate change accelerates and the frequency and severity of fires increase, The idea that a third of the earth could burn no longer feels like an abstract prophecy. It feels alarmingly possible. Fire has long been a symbol of purification and transformation, not just in Christianity, but across many cultures. Ancient seers and mystics often saw fire as a force that destroyed the old to make way for the new. In Native American traditions, large fires were sometimes seen as a precursor to major societal shifts or environmental changes. These flames were not only destructive, they were also regenerative, a sign that something new was being born from the ashes of the old. Similarly, Nostradamus, the famous French astrologer and seer, often spoke of fire in his quatrains, describing it as a force that would ravage entire cities and regions. His writings, though cryptic, have been interpreted by some as predictions of the very wildfires we are witnessing today. For many, the fires are not just a natural disaster, they are a spiritual warning. They are a visible manifestation of the moral and ecological turmoil caused by human disregard for the planet. The deforestation, climate neglect, and unsustainable development that have marked the last few decades have created the perfect conditions for these catastrophic fires to thrive. Some see these flames as a divine message, a call to repentance, a warning to change our ways before it is too late. From a spiritual perspective, fire represents both destruction and rebirth. It burns away the old to make way for new growth, a process that mirrors the idea of judgment and redemption found in many religious traditions. The fire's destructive power is undeniable, but so too is its potential for renewal. Wildfires, while terrifying and destructive, also play a role in the natural world by clearing dead vegetation, enabling new growth, and helping to maintain a healthy ecosystem. In the aftermath of such destruction, life begins to regenerate. This duality, destruction and renewal, reflects the deeper spiritual and ecological lessons embedded in the flames. Whether viewed as a sign of divine judgment, a consequence of human negligence, or a natural process of transformation, the fires in California force us to confront uncomfortable truths about our relationship with nature and the future of our planet. A lot of people are wondering whether mankind is on the cusp of a major turning point because of the combination of contemporary issues and ancient warnings. What are the lessons we should take away if the flames are in fact signs of divine prophecy? Prophetic prophecies often highlight how humans are responsible for the planet. A wake-up call to adopt sustainable habits may come from the present crisis. The confusion and anxiety surrounding these occurrences may cause people to turn to religion for comfort and answers, which might lead to a spiritual awakening or a re-evaluation of moral principles. The size and effect of the flames destroying California and other regions of the globe raise deeper issues, including morality, the divine, and humanity's connection with nature. These issues may be scientifically answered. These occurrences force us to consider the fine line that separates judgment from rebirth, whether they are prophecies coming true or sharp reminders of our collective responsibilities. As Isaiah 66:16 reminds us, "For by fire will the Lord enter into judgment, and by his sword with all flesh, and those slain by the Lord shall be many." Could the fires that are consuming our homes and forests today be more than just a warning, but also a chance for people to seek spiritual and environmental renewal before more severe unrest occurs? The mysterious seer from the 16th century, Nostradamus, never ceases to captivate with his mysterious and often foreboding quatrains. It seems that many of his prophecies portend disastrous occurrences, such as the destruction caused by fire. His works, which are veiled in lyrical ambiguity and symbolism, leave a lot up for interpretation, yet some of the lines have a striking resonance with current affairs. There is a particularly eerie quatrain that goes, The sky will burn at 45 degrees. Fire approaches the great new city. Although Nostradamus lived centuries before places like Los Angeles were established, many people think his predictions are relevant to current affairs. Los Angeles, which is close to the 34th latitude, is not far from the 45 degrees that he predicted. This statement has been seen as a prophecy of the flaming devastation of major cities like Los Angeles and neighboring areas like Malibu, which have been subjected to unrelenting wildfires in recent years. California often becomes a tinderbox due to the devastating Santa Ana winds and protracted droughts, which supports Nostradamus's foreboding prophecy of a flaming sky. His allusion to the great new city may even represent the wider susceptibility of contemporary metropolises, which are pillars of human accomplishment in danger from the same climatic imbalances that industrialization has made worse, according to some academics. In a time when people are seeing the real consequences of climate change, the picture of cities on fire strikes a powerful chord, regardless of whether Nostradamus predicted particular occurrences or used more general symbolic language. With their strong roots in peace with nature, Native American customs provide valuable perspectives on the present environmental crisis. Among the most deep are the Hopi predictions, which describe a day when the earth would scream and use natural calamities to express its suffering. In these warnings, fire is essential because it is a purifying and transforming agent. The Hopi's purification time prophecy predicts a time when a catastrophic disaster would occur as a result of humanity's alienation from nature. This cleansing is considered an essential balance of the earth, not only a punitive measure. As a tool for clearing the ground and getting it ready for rebirth, fire is both destructive and regenerative in this setting. This prophecy may be observed in the occurrence of wildfires, which have become increasingly fierce and widespread in recent years. These ideas are echoed in other indigenous cultures. According to the Lakota, the sacred hoop was burned, signifying cycles of devastation and rebirth. The dual nature of creation and destruction is poignantly brought home by these teachings, which remind us that while fire is a destructive power, it also makes room for life. These predictions, which are based on millennia of spiritual understanding and observation, urge mankind to re-evaluate its connection with the planet. Wildfires all around the globe, from California and Greece to the Amazon and Australia, are becoming more intense, which appears to confirm these predictions. Whether seen from a spiritual perspective or as the consequence of environmental mismanagement, these flames are a clear warning that the planet is in need of care and attention. Indigenous and Nostradamus prophecies agree on one crucial point. Fire is a powerful symbol of change rather than just a calamity. Nostradamus's prophecies depict fire as a destructive power that transforms the globe, whereas indigenous cultures see it as a cleansing energy that makes the planet ready for rebirth. In a world where climate change is influencing things more and more, these old ideas provide a chance to think. Because of its dual nature, the ability to both destroy and renew, fire is a warning and a call to action. Will mankind pay attention to the flames and bring the world back into balance, or will we disregard the warnings and be faced with an endlessly destructive future? Time will tell, but we should take action now because of prior lessons. Wildfires, particularly in places like California, have become a frightening and more common part of our reality. These fires devastate communities, destroy homes, and change the landscape, leaving behind a trail of destruction. While climate scientists point to the role of global warming and human actions in fueling these fires, some people also believe that these events carry a deeper spiritual significance beyond their physical and scientific causes. Both perspectives, the scientific and the spiritual, urge us to change not only our relationship with the earth, but also our understanding of our place in the world and how we interact with one another. For decades, scientists have warned us that human activities, such as burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and urban sprawl, are pushing Earth's natural systems to their limits. This imbalance has made conditions ripe for wildfires. Rising temperatures, prolonged heat waves, and severe droughts have turned places like California into a tinderbox with dry vegetation and trees that are easily set aflame. These environmental changes, exacerbated by global warming, have made it more likely that wildfires will ignite and spread. On top of this, human development has expanded into previously untouched wilderness areas, increasing the number of people and properties at risk. As more forests are cleared for urban expansion, the environment's natural defenses are weakened, and the risk of destructive fires grows. In many ways, wildfires are a loud signal that nature is struggling to cope with the strain humanity has placed on it. However, despite the overwhelming scientific evidence, human responses to these disasters often feel fragmented. This brings up an unsettling question. Is it because we lack the knowledge to act, or because we lack the will to do so? The deeper spiritual meaning behind these fires, according to some philosophers, suggests that these wildfires are not just random natural disasters, but are symbolic of a deeper spiritual crisis. They represent humanity's inner turmoil and disconnection from higher values. The way unchecked greed and exploitation have ravaged the earth can be likened to the unstoppable spread of a fire, consuming everything in its path. This internal fire, driven by materialism and a disregard for the environment, has left society spiritually barren, much like how dry soil is vulnerable to wildfires. From a spiritual perspective, these fires call for both reflection and action, urging people to reassess their relationships with each other, the earth, and the divine. Ancient traditions have long emphasized the importance of living in harmony with nature, and today many believe that reconnecting with this wisdom is crucial for our survival. Wildfires, in their destructive force, often grab our attention in ways that are immediate and urgent. As flames ravage forests and neighborhoods, the need for action is clear. Firefighters scramble to control the blaze, emergency responders work tirelessly to support survivors, and communities rally together to rebuild. Yet beneath the smoke and ash, there lies a deeper, more profound message that these fires send. While they undeniably demand a swift response, they also compel us to examine the state of our world and the trajectory of our shared future. The wildfires currently ravaging California, threatening the iconic landscapes of Malibu and Los Angeles, are not just localized disasters. They are symptoms of a much broader, more alarming pattern that stretches across the globe. These fires push us to question not just our immediate response, but our long-term resilience as a society. They force us to confront the choices we've made and the ones we continue to make that have put us on a path toward ecological imbalance and uncertainty. At the heart of this devastation is a painful truth. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is happening right now. The escalating frequency and intensity of wildfires are stark reminders of this. Scientists have been warning us for decades that rising global temperatures, changing weather patterns, and prolonged droughts would create the ideal conditions for more frequent and more destructive fires. Today, those warnings have become a reality. The fires are no longer an anomaly. They are a direct consequence of our failure to act on climate change. In California, the effects are impossible to ignore. Extreme heat waves and a prolonged drought have turned once vibrant landscapes into tinderboxes. The fires that now rage across the state are not just the result of an unfortunate series of events, but rather the inevitable outcome of a climate that has been pushed to its limits. These flames are a direct reflection of our collective disregard for the planet's fragile balance. If we are to avoid even greater devastation in the future, we must take immediate action. The solution to this crisis is clear. We must rapidly transition away from fossil fuels, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and invest heavily in renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. The longer we delay, the more intense the fires will become. But addressing the root causes of climate change is only part of the solution. We must also reconsider how we build and inhabit fire-prone areas. Cities and towns must rethink development in these vulnerable regions, incorporating fire-resistant building materials, creating defensible spaces, and planning for fires before they happen. A shift in urban planning and infrastructure is essential if we are to protect both lives and property in the long term. Equally important are efforts to restore ecosystems that have been decimated by fires. Thoughtful and sustainable reforestation initiatives can help reduce the risk of future fires, absorb carbon emissions, and rebuild damaged habitats. By restoring balance to the land, we are not only mitigating the effects of climate change, but also protecting the future of countless species that depend on these ecosystems for survival. Yet, beyond the scientific explanations and the practical solutions lies a deeper, more personal reflection. Wildfires have always carried a symbolic weight in human history. In many cultures, fire represents both destruction and transformation. It consumes what is no longer needed, clearing the way for new growth to emerge. In this sense, the fires that ravage California are not only a warning, but an invitation, a call for us to reflect on what truly matters in our lives. The aftermath of these fires forces us to confront our own mortality, our vulnerability, and the fleeting nature of material wealth. Homes, possessions, and even lives can be lost in the blink of an eye. Yet, in the face of destruction, we also witness the incredible strength of community. Neighbors help neighbors, strangers offer shelter, and people come together to rebuild what was lost. Amid the devastation, the human spirit shines through, reminding us that in times of crisis, our shared humanity becomes our greatest strength. These fires compel us to reconsider the values that guide our lives. What are we prioritizing? What are we willing to sacrifice? In the wake of such tragedy, we are forced to question whether we are living in alignment with the planet, with each other, and with our own deepest values. These flames urge us to rethink our relationship with the earth, to live more intentionally, and to embrace compassion for those around us. The wildfires serve as a poignant reminder that we are all interconnected, and that in times of hardship, it is our compassion and solidarity that can heal both individuals and communities. As wildfires continue to shape the landscapes of California and other regions around the world, they remind us not only of the power of nature, but also of our own vulnerability. The destruction they cause is not just a loss of property, it is a reflection of our larger struggles to find harmony with the environment. Are these fires a result of our collective disregard for scientific warnings and the wisdom of indigenous cultures? Or do they represent something deeper, a spiritual reckoning, a sign that the earth is calling us to change our ways? Perhaps they are both, a tragic consequence of environmental mismanagement and a powerful spiritual message for a world at a crossroads. Whatever interpretation we choose to embrace, one truth is undeniable. The fires are a wake-up call. The scientific community calls for immediate action to mitigate climate change and prepare for future disasters. Meanwhile, spiritual traditions urge us to pause and reflect on our choices and the legacy we are leaving behind. Whether we see these fires as a prophetic warning or simply the consequence of human negligence, they hold a powerful lesson. It is time for change. The flames that have consumed thousands of acres of land in California are not just an environmental crisis, they are a symbol of a much larger existential challenge. They remind us that the consequences of inaction are real and urgent. The fires are not just burning forests, they are burning the future. And if we do not act now, if we do not rise to the challenge with both urgency and compassion, the fires of inaction will consume not only our forests, but our very future as well. The moment for change is here. It is time to act, not just for the sake of the planet, but for the sake of future generations. Wildfires are not just an environmental disaster, they are a clarion call for all of us to reevaluate our priorities, to act with courage, and to embrace the responsibility we share for the world we leave behind. The question now is not whether we will act, but whether we will do so in time.